let's go over the basics of the service options worksheet. And it's one of the worksheets clear over to the right of welcome. So we go over here to service options and let's go through some of the basics. At the top of the worksheet is your annual price that adjusts. And when you collaborate with the client, they will see that price adjust up or down depending on what you do to each piece of equipment. Each piece of equipment is a group clear across. And you'll notice that it has possibly the customer's identifier, unit ID, what type of equipment, the manufacturer, model number, serial number. You can put the size, how many units there are. This has 1 unit, 125 ton. How many visits you're going to perform on this selected task or service type. Now this example, it says a PACC 254-4. And if you come up here to this menu structure here, and we're not going to go through all the training on all of this, but this is important, it will take you to the corresponding task sheet. So this is actually what you're doing right here. And you'll notice that it has 4 compressors, just like it says, 4-4. The first 4 is compressors, the second 4 is number of condensers, 4 crankcase heaters, 4 condenser fans, and 4 condenser coils, if it indeed is 4 circuits. And you can use 4 refrigerant gauges, check superheat, etc. So you have the way to adjust this to a 2-4 or a 2-3 or whatever the case may be. And so if you add all these minutes up times these quantities, they end up to being these totals. And if you add all those up, they end up to be 146. And there's some other stuff on a task sheet that we'll train in another session. To get back to the service options worksheet, you can either scroll to the left on these tabs, or you can simply hit to SO, and it takes you back. Now, the important thing of collaborating is that you help your clients understand how, if they want to control their budget price, if they want to go down for whatever reasons, they have to remove certain things. For example, you might, I'm going to not suggest you do this, but if they have a belt service, you could actually take it out. And you'd have to take out the type 2, and you'd have to take out the belt material. And once you do that, it brought the price down. Now I'm going to go Control Z to bring it back. But they see you and how the price of removing this impacts, the service that you're providing at the $107 an hour, and the material of the belt AX26 at this $25 impacts price, and they see the relationship. So when you help them and they collaborate with you and they say, okay, we need to get it down, and you say, well, we can do belts as needed instead of annual. They go, well, let's see what that does, and that gets them into their budget range. You're going to find out the benefit of them planning with you and collaborating on a board is when they help you build the price and what we call the plan behind that price. They take ownership of it. And we always say customers buy what they believe in, customers buy what they build. If your competition doesn't have a way for them to help the customer see their relationship between price and the different services, here's a package ACH for heating, 25 ton, 2 stages of heat. They can't see that they've got filters included. It's 5 filters per visit, 4 visits a year, 16 by 25 by 2. If they don't see that you're applying a mid-level technician, and you can see that there's 3 different levels of technicians. If they can't go over to techs and see that a level or type 1 tech can do all this, you can see there's some things not checked. A type 2 has more of the check marks. A type 3 has more of the check marks, meaning they can do more. So if your competition is just putting out a price and they're a bunch of typical well-meaning, maybe not so well-meaning salespeople that don't have any way to prove their price, you have the advantage. That's why it's proven that the close rates are much higher using Smart HVAC Plan than just doing it the old way, just the old sales way. Purely relationship. Relationship is very important, but you add this to it, even if it's 10%, what we'll call it a 10% value, your client will buy what they build. Your client will buy what they collaborate with you on. All right? So you're going to find out you have total control. This is a type 1. You wouldn't want that to be that way. Let's keep it at type 2. I'm going to change that to type 2. You'll notice up at the top right here that when I go to type 2 right here, it goes from 13,868 to 13,894. Now, where does the 107 come from? You'll find this later, but in tables, you set the price for the different types of tech, and this is adjustable if you have the password. You wouldn't want to do this on the fly. You'd want management and maybe the owner to determine what these labor rates are going to be. So each one of these groups is a unit. Excuse me. You can, if you don't put serial number in, you could put a quantity of 4 units in there. 4 times 5 would be 20 on the filters, and 4, 4, 4. But we think part of the collaboration in being much more sophisticated and detail-oriented than your competition is to do it by serial number. And that's what we did here. What else is on here? You'll notice that you've got the price, average annual price. You've got the quarterly, $34.73.69. Those will roll over into the agreement. And you'll notice here that it rounded it up. It's not going to stay with the dollars and cents because I'm going to very quickly go over here to start here. And that's because when you first set this up, you said round up the price on the agreement. Quarterly. Why is it quarterly? Because you selected quarterly right here. If you had a selected monthly in the billing cycle on the service options, it will now say monthly, and you'll see that you have a monthly price. And that carries over to the agreement. In this case, it would be rounded. And so that's really the basics. There's a little more information that you might want to know, and that is how many trips. Well, that's pretty obvious because you selected that in your start here. And then you've got a visit there. You've got another visit there, and then you add belt service on one of the 4 visits. 11 hours travel, 21 hours in this example of PM hours, total hours, etc. Labor or service tax, material tax, total tax. You can look at the PM hours per service if you want to. It even has a very basic schedule board. Of course, you're going to want to enter this into your dispatch or service management software, but it does give you a little basic schedule board. And that's the basics of the service options worksheet and the training thereof.